Good morning, everyone. So thankful for all of you to attend today. Today we have Sandra Borland, who is going to go over contracts, buyer rep agreements, and compensation statements and how they all need to match and why and the reasons why.
Okay,
Thank you, Sandra.
you're welcome. First of all, we have so many people that are frustrated when their transactions don't get paid after closing because they have items that were reviewed that were never addressed. And maybe Anna could help with this. Anna, can you tell people how to find out in the RSA? Because I think a lot of people don't know where to look for the review items that are calling for corrections.
So sorry, I was on mute. Yes. So your best bet, we know that every transaction has two parts, right? So we're gonna start off with the listing. When you input a listing and you're working with a seller and so forth, you would be responsible to upload all the seller documents and the seller signed disclosures. Before that listing goes under contract, it is our responsibility to make sure that gets cleaned up. So when the compliance review comes and reviews it and tags you maybe on 3 items, you will get an oops email. I call it the oops email, right? Because the subject line is an oops. Make sure that you go back to your RSA, go back to that transaction, 123 Main Street, and then go and click on the compliance review tab. That will take you to the notes, the compliance review notes. The compliance team is amazing at being, giving us so much clarity, specifying what line needs to be corrected, what item needs to be uploaded and corrected. Make sure to clean up while the listing is still not under contract. Because those 3 things that you were tagged on, if you do not take care of them under the listing, they will follow through to your sales portion when you convert it to a sale. Then the sale is going to have its problem of its own. So now let's just say that you're going to have 3 more items under the sale. Now you have 6 pending items. So, keep in mind, there's always going to be 2 parts to the transaction. So when you get that oops email, go back to that transaction, click on the compliance review, try to clean it up while it's just 3. Don't wait until it converts into a sale. Now you have 6. And this is just an example, right? Because then it's a lot more work for you. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to reach out to us. We're going to help you. I had an agent that had 11 pending items on Tuesday that we helped out. Why? Because he didn't clean it up while he had the 5 on the listing side. Now, when it was under contract, now he had 5 on the listing side, then 6 on the sales side. Now he has 11, items pending. And it's very, very frustrating. Now we have a closing in 2 weeks. So just be mindful to take care of those items when they come. As soon as they come, take care of them. And it's easier for us to help you. It's easier for you to kind of just learn how to do it with those few pending items on one side. The same thing for the buyer broker. The buyer broker is wrong, then we will we will help you to take care of it. So when that buyer goes under contract, then you have to convert it to a sale. You don't want to we want to make sure that you're in the right path. So when that sale comes, you're able to kind of clean it up as you go. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
One of the worst things that I see happening is you guys closing on a deal without ever having looked in the RSA.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to know why you're not getting paid. It's a lot harder to get people to make corrections after a closing is done. And I'm going to bring up a couple things for you today that you need to be aware of. And I want to explain to you how doc review works. when you input a listing into the RSA, and this is really, really important now because I'm going to explain to you the situation that's going on in the world. Zillow has stopped the feed from MRED, and many of your sellers really, really want their listings to appear on Zillow. And some of you are very lax about inputting into the RSA your listings. Well, now we signed a contract with Zillow last week so that our listings will appear on Zillow all the time. But guess where the feed is coming from? The RSA. So if you don't put your listing in the RSA right away, guess what? Your listing will not appear in Zillow. Okay? Very important that you input your listing into the RSA immediately. All right, let me explain to you a little bit about how doc review works. Stella's asking a question. Don't our listings automatically feed? Apparently she has not heard about the lawsuit, and MRED stopped exporting listings to Zillow as of when? Day before yesterday?
Day
I
before
think.
yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
the
so that's
18th,
no longer happening,
right?
okay? In doc review, when a sale file comes in, whether it's your listing or it's your buyer sale, and we're reviewing those documents for purposes of compliance and also your commission statement or compensation statement, we look at many different items. Number one, we look at, if it's your listing, we look at the listing agreement. And can I share my screen?
Yes, you can.
All right. Hold on a second. And all right. I have a document up. Are you able to see it? Or no?
Hang on.
Because I didn't get a button to hit share.
I do not see it.
Okay, how do we share my screen?
Um,
I could see it. You're on Zoom. Find out what's possible when connects.
All right, I see
So
that.
I could see this.
yeah,
Wow. I
yeah,
could
it's
send
allowing me
everything
to,
to you.
it's
I,
allowing me to share,
wow.
but it should be allowing you to share. Let me try this. Multiple participants, see if that'll work. Okay, now try.
I don't see any button that's, oh wait, let's see here, share. Let's see.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna first put up a listing agreement. Can you see it?
Not y- not
No?
yet. No.
Oh dear. Houston, we have a problem.
Okay, so I'll pull it up.
All right,
Um,
but you don't, I have all these documents filled out. You want me?
um, is it a listing agreement that we
I
want to
have,
pull up?
I have like 6 documents filled out.
Ah,
And I see all the ones on your screen, but those aren't mine.
right.
Yeah.
So the only way we could do that is if you sent them to me
Oh boy.
in an email without
Oh,
sharing.
well, you want to talk for 5 minutes and I'll send everything to you in an email.
Okay,
All right. I'm
let's
gonna minimize everything and I'll get busy sending everything to you.
Stella said, I understand that Emirates does not feed into Zillow. You are saying that we need to enter our listing into RSA. As long as I enter a basic listing into RSA, does the rest of it feed from MRED into RSA?
Whatever you put in the RSA will feed into Zillow. I do not know whether pictures are gonna follow, 1 picture, 2 I do not know the details. Okay,
Okay,
so I'm busy working to attach all these documents, okay?
okay.
All right, so you guys keep talking. Maybe Anna could go into more detail about some of the things she was talking about. Or questions, take questions from people.
Yeah, any questions anybody's got? And this is an interactive call, so you can unmute yourselves and have a conversation amongst
Mhm.
yourselves as well.
Good morning.
Okay.
This is Sam. I have a question.
Hi, Sam.
The problem I have with the compliance department is that there is no direct line of communication with them. Sometimes I leave a note on my listing, for example, but they don't read it or they don't pay attention. I have a listing right now that was built in 2006. And I told them that we don't need lead-based paint after 1978. But
So,
So is it pointed in, I'm sorry, Debbie, I'm so sorry.
did you
still I
send
have
an
the,
email? Did you send an
yes,
email to docreview@homesmartconnect.com?
yes, I did. I said
And
still I have a red X on it and the rest is green.
and-
Okay, if it's not required, it's still going to show up in red. But if it's not required, they know that it's not required. So, is it in like, was it specified in the compliance review items, Sam? Or is it just is it just showing up in red as required?
It's just show red X.
Okay, then
the
that
rest
if
are
it doesn't
green.
apply, don't ignore it.
Okay,
Okay?
no problem.
Yeah, so when you're inputting a listing, you're going to put the age of the house.
Yes,
It's going to automatically, those documents in red that says required are just as like an outline or just as a reminder that you might need these disclosures. Okay. But if it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply, and they're going to cross check the age of the house. They're going to cross check, what you inputted on the listing. So it's not going to count against you. Now, if it was built in 1968 and you don't have a lot of disclosure there and you happen to ignore it, you will be tagged on it on the compliance review notes. This house was built in 1968. You are required to have a lead-based paint disclosure. Does that make sense?
yes.
Okay.
Thank you. And
Mm-hmm.
also yesterday I made a appointment to show a property, and they told me it's confirmed, but 1 hour before the showing time, you have to go to mobile showing desk by Zillow. Download that in your phone, and then click on it, and then we give you the code to go. Is that the normal from now on, or everything should go through Zillow, or just?
No.
I've not heard
Do
that.
you have the mobile app for Central Lock?
Yes, I have it in my phone. Yes.
What was that listings restrictions? Was it on a Central Lock? Was it a combo? Who was?
It was a combo, but they said we can give you the code 1 hour before the showing time, and then you have to go to the mobile app on your phone.
If you have the Central Lock app, you don't need the mobile app.
Yeah, I have it, but I couldn't open it there. Then I downloaded the showing this by Zillow because there are a couple of them. And then I click on it and I saw the code to show it.
All right, Deb, did you get the documents I sent you?
did you send them to Trainer?
Yes.
I have them now.
And now I no longer have a screen, so I might have to log out and log back in.
Okay, let me
Lovely. What a
download
mess.
these.
All right, I'm gonna log out and log back in. All right.
Okay,
All right, hold
see you
on.
back in a minute.
All right.
I have a question. This is
Sure.
Rose Daniel. Um, so are we giving private listing feed to Zillow now?
We're
What-
giving a feed from our RSA to Zillow now.
So the private listings are going to Zillow.
No,
No.
One of my clients told me he found a listing on Zillow and he couldn't find it anywhere else because I told him to look at Redfin because Zillow may not have all the feeds. And he sent it to me and I looked it up and it was one of our HomeSmart Connect's private listings.
Yeah, well, how long ago was that? Because I believe
Yesterday.
the day before yesterday, MRED stopped
Yeah.
feeding to Zillow.
Yeah, but this was yesterday.
Well, I don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
The only one that's going to feed a private is if you purchase Zenlist. Zenlist is a like purchase from,
Yeah.
that would feed private listings.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm trying to open up the screen now so
All
we
right.
can
The
share.
first thing I wanted to bring up was your buyer rep agreement.
Okay,
Hopefully you can decipher my chicken scratch there.
let me see if I can find that on my
Because I want
screen.
you all to understand something critical in the doc review process, and that is on page 1 of the buyer rep agreement. No, that's the compensation statement. That's all right.
Yep. Sorry, I'm
That's
getting there.
okay. We have many dates we have to look at.
Okay,
And one of
so
the
you
rules,
want the listing agreement, correct?
well, we can look at the listing agreement. I was talking about the buyer rep agreement, but that's
Oh.
okay.
Okay, which one do you want me to
That one
open?
right there, the one you're pointing to.
Okay, very good.
All right. All right. Let's make it.
Bigger.
All right. So does everyone see 5/1 of 2026? Yes?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do.
All right. All right. Now, we run into a problem in doc review when that date up at the top is not the date that it was signed. When these documents come into doc review, what doc review does is they look at the date on line number 1. Then they go and look at the date on the last page of the buyer rep agreement to see what date it was signed. It should have been signed 5/1 of 26. It should not say 5/10 of 26. It should not say 5/5 of 26. In addition to that, let's scroll down.
Okay.
And
Um,
the date on that the contract with, well, we lost it.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. If you scroll down, we look at the commission on the buyer rep agreement. Can you scroll down on this document?
Yes.
Okay. So the date here on line 17, it begins on 5/1 of 26. Doc review is going to look at what's on line 23. That says 2.5%. Then they go to the contract, okay? And let's see, I do not have a contract that I sent you, but I'm going to just explain to you. Doc review goes to the date on page 14. Then they look at the date the contract was written. It may not have been written on 4/30 of 26. Otherwise, this buyer rep agreement is fraudulent. Does everybody here understand that?
Yeah, so in other words, the two dates should be the same, the buyer rep agreement
Or
and the
the buyer
contract.
rep has to be before the date the offer was written.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you are illegally asking for compensation on the contract at line 33 unless this buyer rep predates or is the same day that the offer was written. Okay?
Does
So
everybody understand that?
if at line 23 you have 1%, you are only allowed to ask for 1% on line 33 of the contract. You cannot ask for 2.5, you cannot ask for 3. If you have, I see all too often people writing in whatever the seller will pay. That is illegal. You are not allowed to do that. I have people writing in 2.5% if the seller will pay. That is illegal. You are not allowed to do that. We have to have a number here or a flat fee at line 23. No verbiage. and this document must be dated. We look at the DocuSign dates on the last page of this agreement. If the DocuSign dates on the last page of this agreement are not 5/1 of 26 and they're 5/10 of 26, and the offer was written on 5/1 of 26, guess what? You're not entitled to 1 penny of compensation. Does anybody have questions about that? All right, let's look at sale buyer agent compensation. It's sale underscore buyer underscore agent comp.
Is that the broker's commission one that we're looking for?
This
Sandy,
is-
before we move on, can I just say something on the buyer broker compensation?
Yes, please.
Okay, because I do go over this a lot with the agents.
Yeah,
So we can confirm, and it comes from your, the master voice, you. We cannot go up, right? So
correct.
if you're saying that if we charge our buyer broker 1%,
Yes,
and then we type in on the offer purchase contract 2.5%,
that is
we
illegal.
that's illegal.
Yes.
In that case, what can we do? Can we do a modification rep agreement?
No, legally, no.
Okay,
Legally, no. You are only entitled to what is on your buyer rep agreement. That is all you are legally allowed to ask for. Now,
okay.
if you have 2.5% here and
Mhm,
negotiating that contract, the seller is only willing to pay 2%. We will
mhm.
allow you to go down on line 23. You can use the
Perfect.
modification, but you cannot increase the amount on your buyer rep after you find out the seller is willing to pay you more.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much for that clarification. Okay, so the word of advice is here is to start higher because you can go
Absolutely.
always lower,
Yes. And
right?
there's nothing wrong with saying to your buyer, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I fully expect my entire commission at line 23 to be paid by the seller.
Mm-hmm.
If it turns out that the seller, we find the house of your dreams and the seller is not willing to pay me this full amount, I will reduce this amount to you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't think the buyer can afford it, if sometimes we have agents in our office who have
Mm-hmm.
buyers that are more than happy to pay the difference.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's happened to me. Yeah.
I've
But
had
not
that
It's
every
all
happen.
buyer.
about how you word it, right?
Yeah,
Like
Right.
perfectly example. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now,
Very good.
so just so you know, you can go down on your buyer rep agreement, you cannot go up.
Perfect. Now, another scenario, because as a real estate agent, no transaction is the same, right?
Right.
I'm just going to make another scenario. What if you as a agent is buying a property
Right,
and your buyer rep agreement says 0, then
right.
choose to represent yourself on that purchase and ask for a 2.5 compensation from that seller.
Then you are not getting 1 penny.
Okay. I
All
want
right.
that to make it very clear to
Right.
everybody.
Yes.
Mhm.
If you're working for yourself and you are presenting an offer on your behalf, if you want the seller to pay 2.5%, you must have a buyer rep agreement with yourself that says 2.5%. Okay.
The word of advice, food for thought here. If you are representing yourself in a purchase transaction, treat yourself as a buyer and put a percentage on that buyer rep agreement. If not,
Exactly.
you will not get paid
Right.
in the transaction. Perfect.
Could we
Thank you.
look at the document that says sale, buyer, agent, comp?
Okay, I see broker commission, list, rent, and broker's commission statement.
That's none of those.
Okay, hang on then, let me close that and see if it's attached to the email.
Yeah, just so you all know, if you are taking a listing for yourself, this is along the same lines.
Mhm.
And you do not want to pay, right there, I see it,
Right
right
there.
there.
Mhm.
And you do not want to pay commission necessarily for yourself. On the listing agreement, you might want to put in $4.95. Okay. All right, so that same buyer rep agreement we saw was at 2.5%, okay? Your name goes at the top of this form. The address, 555 Main Street. This is all fictitious. These are not real addresses or people. Represent the buyer, so you check buyer. We put in the seller's name, Mrs. X, the buyer's name, Mr. Y. This closing date should be 6/16 of 2026. The purchase price is $500,000. And the way this is entered, guys, in case you didn't know it, we type in 500000. The system puts in the comma. You do not need to do that. If you put in the comma, it will not come out correctly. Okay. Now we record how much earnest money there is. That is entered at 10000, no comma. They put in the comma. It's held by Chicago Title. So now we go down to paid by seller. This is where you put in the seller's name once again, Mrs. X. So many of you are putting in HomeSmart Connect in the column where it says paid by seller. That is incorrect. Now we input the rate. What is Mrs. X going to pay? This is entered as 0.025. You do not enter the rate as 2.5. It is entered as 0.025, and it will calculate correctly. Payable to Smart Connect. All right. Now, in this particular case, we have one of those situations that Anna and I spoke about where the buyer is willing to pay us a little bit of extra money. Okay. So Mr. Y is the buyer. We'll go down to the bottom half of this form, and he's agreed to pay us a flat fee of $500, which is input there. Does everyone see that?
Yes.
We only use the bottom half of this form when the tenant or the buyer is paying us additional money. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Let's go to listing agreement. It's just labeled list.
Okay. One moment.
There we go.
Can you see
Okay.
it?
Yes.
Okay.
That review is going to look at your listing agreement. We have a probably about a 70% chance that you guys as listing agents are going to do both sides of the transaction. All right. I'm seeing this more and more. It didn't happen before the lawsuit in August of 2024, or was it 25? I can't even remember anymore. But we're having buyers approaching sellers, listing agents directly, because buyers out there think they're getting the house cheaper by going to the listing agent. And what I want you, all of you, to remember is that disclosure is the number one protection you have against a future lawsuit. So if that buyer is under the misapprehension that you are not earning anything for filling out that paperwork, you need to make it very clear to them that you will be earning money for filling out this paperwork. That's why I'd like you to use the Main Street Organization of Realtors no agency disclosure when a buyer approaches you on your listing, because on that disclosure, it very clearly tells them what you can and cannot do for them as a listing agent. And it says there that you can earn money. So let's move down towards the bottom of this page. This listing began on 5/15. All right. And at line 18, I've said that as the listing agent, I want to earn 2.5%. Okay. At line 20, I've outlined the fact for Mr. and Mrs. Seller that I have a $500 cancellation fee on this document. And down at line 26, you put in how much extra you are going to earn as the listing agent if an unrepresented buyer approaches you and you give them a notice of no agency, or you could theoretically ask them to sign a buyer rep agreement agreeing to dual agency. Do you all understand the difference between dual agency and no agency?
Can you explain?
Yes, under dual agency, if you decide to do dual agency, you will no longer have the ability to advise either the seller or the buyer how to proceed. The only thing you can do is fill out paperwork for them both. You can provide comps to them both, but you cannot analyze those comps. If you do no agency and this buyer wants to write an offer, you can say, Mr. Seller, I think this is a bad deal. I don't trust this guy. I don't like his qualifications. And I think he's offering you too low a price. Once you enter the dual agency realm, you can no longer advise your seller. I think I never do dual agency. And when the state of Illinois and their lovely auditors come into our office, the first thing they ask for is your last 10 dual agency contracts. And they scrutinize them. They have the right to contact all the parties if they want. They can ask them if they were treated fairly and if they were responsibly disclosed and was everything explained to them. So keep that in mind before you decide to enter into a dual agency transaction. Another thing I wanted to explain to you. So in this case, if I do no agency with this buyer that's coming to me, I will be earning 3.5%. All right. Does everyone understand that?
Yes.
Yes.
We do not offer co-op compensation on our listing agreements. We haven't done that in over a year. All right. If an agent presents an offer to you, they will ask for compensation on the contract. If you, as the listing agent, write an offer for this unrepresented buyer, you do not put commission on the contract at line 33. All right. That you line out. That's not applicable because your commission is covered by your listing agreement. All right. I didn't complete the entire document, just so you know. So let's look at a compensation statement for a listing, if I've got one. Sale list comp, we did that one, right?
Yes.
Let's look at a smart title agreement. Can we pull that up? Are all of you aware that we have our own title company now called Smart Title?
Yes.
Okay. Don't have it
Miss
here.
Miss Borland,
Yes.
I had a question. So in reference of the dual agency, if I were to do a dual agency and the buyer, do I still have to also have an agreement with the buyer as some kind of that I'm going to get paid 1% compensation from the seller according to the agreement?
If you decide to do dual agency, you have to have a buyer rep agreement signed by the buyer.
Okay, so I would need both.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
I think you're a lot safer not to do dual agency, however.
Okay,
All right.
sure.
Sandy, I usually charge, I don't do dual agency, but I will say that if the buyer is unrepresented, then I'll charge additional, like $1,000 or $1,500 or something
Right.
like that. So now I do need to pay HomeSmart a portion of that.
Yes. You will be paying transaction fees on both sides.
On both sides. Okay.
Yes. All right. What I was looking for was the smart title agent agreement, smart
Oh,
title agreement.
I'm sorry.
That's
Okay,
all right.
I saw it. I
All
saw
right.
it.
Just so you all know, should you decide you want to do
It's on the
your
listing
your
side.
right, if you decide you want to, your client is going to use smart title, there are a couple things you've got to understand ahead of time. Number one, your documents have to be fully approved in the RSA 10 days before the closing in order for you to close with smart title, okay? And be paid at the closing table.
This one, Sandy, smart title
No, that's a
compensation
compensation statement. We want the smart title agreement.
agreement, pardon
Between
me.
the agent and HomeSmart,
Okay,
okay? I did send you a copy.
this one,
Yeah, that one.
this one.
All right, each of you would need to read this agreement over. You have to sign it. You have to agree to everything. Your commission statement must be approved 10 days before the closing. Not only that, but you have to use a smart title attorney. We have a list of smart title attorneys. So this is a smart title payment agreement. Read this thoroughly if you're going to use smart title. If you have not signed this agreement, you are not eligible to use smart title and be paid at closing. Okay, so you want to just scroll through it real quickly.
Sure.
This tells you the rules for smart title and the rules for getting paid at the closing table. And some of you do not understand that this particular setup is so that when you attend the closing, you walk away with your check at the closing. All right. And they send a separate check to HomeSmart for what HomeSmart's fees are, typically speaking, $495. All right. So it's not real complicated. Here are the
Yeah.
eligibility requirements. Timely documents submission. Your documents must be uploaded within 48 hours of having been signed. All right. If the file is not uploaded within 48 hours, the agent may not qualify for payment at Smart Title. All right. You have to go through compliance review and everything must be corrected in the RSA 10 days prior to closing. The Alta statement must match the smart title compensation statement. In other words, whatever is on your commission statement must match the Alta. That's why we demand 10 days because we have to scrutinize the smart title compensation statement. And I will tell you that out of every 10 smart title compensation statements we receive, 9 out of 10 of them are incorrect. Okay. So please, please look at the messages you've received. Contact Doc Review. They usually will tell you what is wrong. If you read the messages, you'll probably, and if you have trouble, you can always call the front desk or Anna could help you. One of us could help you understand what is wrong if you do not understand your messages. Let's go to a smart title compensation statement.
Okay.
And I know I sent that one to you as well.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Just smart.
Sandy, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, as a listing agent, normally I put that for selling your house, I need this much commission for myself, for my office. And also I put, for example, 1% on the dual representation or no represented buyer. Now, all I'm dealing is with the seller. Should I get the buyer's agreement with the buyer that I'm charging 1% extra for helping you and the seller at the same time?
Now, if you're not doing dual agency, or you said you were doing dual agency,
I will do it.
well, then you need to have that 1% on the buyer rep agreement as well.
Okay, so I have to get a buyer involved for that one person
If,
extra that
if
I'm,
you're doing dual agency, yes. That is telling them that you are earning 1% for filling out those papers for him. And keep in mind, you cannot advise them in any way, shape, or form on how to offer that, on how to bid on that house.
I'm making 1% more from the seller side, but you
I
saying
know, but the
that,
buyer has to be told what you're earning,
okay,
and that has to be on the buyer rep agreement.
And
All right.
remember, you're subject to being audited even more so.
Yeah, I don't see any benefit to doing dual agency, quite honestly.
So
You earn
please
this,
remember that as well, Sam.
you earn
Sandy,
the
oh,
same exact money for doing no agency.
yeah. Sandy, if I'm doing unrepresented buyer and I'm getting paid by the seller, do I need to disclose that to the buyer?
Yes,
Okay.
the
Um,
buyer to understand that you earn money for filling out those forms.
okay.
Many of them are approaching you because they think you're not earning any money for that.
Gotcha.
That's what they may very well decide they want representation from their own agent.
Okay.
If they, all right, so let's scroll to the top. This is a smart title compensation statement, okay? So your name goes at the top, the address, 12 Smith, I've written here, Barrington, Illinois. You represent the seller. All right. We've seen some smart title compensation statements coming in that are checked buyer. I represent the buyer. We typically do not get to choose the title company if we represent the buyer. So that is not something normally that a buyer, unless you happen to know the listing agent and have talked them into using smart title. So typically speaking, it'll be seller. All right.
Yep.
All right. Or it could be both very commonly. So the seller is Mrs. Jones, the buyer is Mr. Buyer. Closing date is 6/1 of 2026. The purchase price is $600,000. There is $10,000 earnest money held by Chicago Title. And Mrs. Jones, the seller, is paying us 2.5%. Okay. And that's $15,000. Insert your name on the next line where it says your name. All right. Sandy Borland is my name. I would have written it in here. And this is how much I'm going to be walking away with. A check for $14,455. You notice on the next line, HomeSmart Connect, that is the HomeSmart Connect fees. All right. And the system will automatically calculate all of this for you. You insert $495 here, and they ask us to put our Helping Hands donations on the bottom line. All right. And in this case, $50. Everything is calculated here, and your takeaway of $14,455 is minus the $495, and it's minus the $50. All right. Does everyone understand that?
Does everyone know what Helping Hands is?
No questions? I guess they do.
I
All right,
guess
Helping
so.
Hands is our charitable organization that helps agents in need.
No,
All
we're
right.
getting some no's in here, so please
All
continue.
right. Well, I think maybe we should do a presentation about Helping Hands someday, but we have a charity in our office to help agents that are undergoing sometimes maybe illness in the family. Maybe it's our agent, maybe it's a member of their immediate family, a loss of income for whatever reason, some kind of stress. We've been known to pay board dues for agents that are undergoing cancer treatments, for instance. We're set up to help in any way we can. All
It's
right.
helping each other out.
Yes. Okay. You never know when something unexpected is going to come up in your life and you might need a little extra help. All right. So we encourage everybody, if they're able to donate to Helping Hands. All right?
So Jerry is asking a question. If I'm working with a no agency agreement with the buyer, I
Yes.
don't have to disclose to the buyer if the seller's listing agreement reflects that I will receive the additional 1%
You do
in
need
this
to
instance,
disclose.
correct?
That is wrong. No.
That is wrong.
You need to tell the buyer that you are earning money. That's why I told you to use the Main Street no agency disclosure, because it's clear on there that under no agency, you can still earn money. All right? The reason I'm telling you this is there are going to be lawsuits very soon. There are already lawyers soliciting buyers in our marketplace and asking them, were you told that that agent is earning money on both sides? Just wait, it's coming.
Carry no agency in your car.
What?
Carry the no agency form in your car.
Agreed.
Absolutely. And if you're
Yeah.
sitting in open house, I had an agent say to me yesterday, I didn't get him to sign a no agency because I was doing an open house and that's how I met him. Excuse me. Everybody that walks through the door at your open house should be given that no agency form. And if they ask you, are you earning money for filling out these forms? Yes, I am. Now, there are some of you, and I've seen it, that don't care to make money on that side. And that's entirely up to you. If you've got zero compensation due for working with an unrepresented buyer, God bless you, you're very generous. Not all of us are willing to do that extra work for nothing because you're going to be sitting that home inspection with that buyer and you're going to be handling a lot of the details on that transaction.
Sandy, if I'm sitting at somebody else's listing for an open house, do
Yeah.
I need a no agency? No.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely you do. You give them the no agency when they walk through. You are never allowed to sit in open house without disclosing your function there. And you are not acting as an agent if you are just showing people through an open house. You are working under no agency. But if you're sitting someone else's open house and one of those buyers then says to you, I want to make an offer, you have to do a buyer rep agreement with that buyer. All right?
Okay. Now, if I'm sitting at my open house and then somebody wants to put an offer, then I have to give them, sorry, anybody who comes in, I have to give a no agency.
Right.
No
And we
matter
have
what, at open house, period, you have to give a no agency.
absolutely, but it must be signed prior to writing an offer.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
All right.
Also, I'd like to make a note, Danny Jenkins is at the bottom of this form with her phone number. And Danny is normally our Chicago Title / Smart Title representative, right? But Danny is currently on maternity leave for 6 weeks. So I typed Haley Hoffman's name into the chat with her phone number and her email address. If you have any questions, you need to call Haley during Danny's maternity leave.
All right. Just so you guys know, when doc review has to approve this commission statement prior to your sending it to the title company and the attorneys, we check, number one, what is the commission on the listing agreement? Number two, is this submitted 10 days prior to closing? Number three, are you using a smart title attorney? If you're not, this will be rejected and you have to go back and do a regular commission statement, not a smart title commission statement. Is that clear to everyone? We will also check with Teresa in bookkeeping because some of you perhaps are behind in fees. So we may change this 495. Let's say you haven't paid your office rent, they're $39 a month. If you're behind on your fees, we will include it here under HomeSmart Connect and change that 495 to what you owe. Maybe you haven't paid your errors and omissions insurance. All right.
I have a question regarding.
So any balance dues are going to be deducted
Yes.
from your check.
Yes. Go ahead, Rose.
If they write a note in RSA and we have a question, should I be writing that question in the notes or should I send an email?
I would send it, if you do not understand what they're asking you for,
Yeah,
then send an email back and also put it in the notes. I would say it's better to do it in an email.
both. And the email should be to broker or no?
No,
It's
doc,
doc review. I'll type it in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
all
Can
right?
I add something to that, ladies?
Yes.
Okay, so on our agent dashboard under our bulletin board, we have a list of emails for all of our staff. Look at your compliance review and see who is who's noting the review on that particular transaction. So if it's like Bobby, or if it's like on the listing side or the purchase side or the sales side, you can go to doc review. You can email doc review, but also copy that, listings at I think there's listings at HomeSmart Connect, right?
You're
Correct me if
correct.
I'm wrong,
Yes.
Sandy.
Listings at
Yeah. And then,
homesmartconnect.com.
yeah, so be a little bit more specific. You can be a little bit more specific. Doc review emails are very overwhelmed with a lot of emails.
Right.
So if it requires a little bit more of an immediate attention or specific attention, I would advise for you guys to look at we have it in our organizational chart. We have it in the bulletin board with
I
a list of
I
all
am
the
on
emails in there.
dashboard. I'm on dashboard. Where do I look for that?
Go into the bulletin board
Yes,
where
I
the tile where it says bulletin board, click on that.
bulletin. Okay,
And
dashboard
scroll down to where where you see staff email list.
staff email.
Now, I'm unfortunately, I'm going to bring something up that is a little bit troubling. And that is, a lot of you feel that you should have your questions answered immediately. And I agree that would be ideal, but it's not practical when you have 900 agents in your office. And all of them are, unfortunately, on Friday, for instance, guys, I had 68 calls by 5:30 in the afternoon. Do you know how much I can get done when I have to answer the phone 68 times? Not much, not much. I would much prefer you email. Do not call me with your doc review questions, please, unless it's an absolute, if you're sitting at a closing table and you've got a problem with something, yes, that's the call I want to get. I do not want to get a call saying doc review said this. Why should I have to do that? That's something you should email to doc review, please. All right.
Okay, we have another question. Who is the best person to talk with regards to my first closing? She says, coming up on June 8th, a non-smart title attorney being used. I'm very confused as to what I'm supposed to be submitting prior to the closing.
Well, I don't even understand that question necessarily.
This
Repeat it
is
again.
Kay Leon. Kay Leon. If you could please unmute yourself and help clarify. Who is the best person to talk with regards to my first closing with HomeSmart coming up June 8th? A non-smart title attorney being used. I'm very confused as to what I'm supposed to be submitting prior to the closing.
I
Well,
think
Yeah, so
yes, go ahead.
Kathy, sorry. Yeah, so I have a closing coming up June 8th, but as far as I don't think my attorney is a smart title attorney. I don't think they participate in that yet.
Okay, then you do a regular commission statement. You don't do a smart title commission statement.
Right, okay. And that still also needs to be submitted 10 days prior to closing.
Yes.
Okay, and RSA then all needs to be in compliance, everything needs to be
Yes.
square. Okay.
If you want to be paid in a timely fashion, everything in your RSA must be reviewed and corrected if we call for any corrections prior to the closing. Otherwise, you're not going to get paid on time.
Okay. All right. And if I have,
Kathy, are you brand new to HomeSmart?
I am.
Okay, I would be happy to walk you through your first transaction just to make sure. So I'm able to teach you on how to read those compliance if you do have anything pending and to help you fill out your compensation statement. I rather, we'll take the time to teach you. So like that, when you have your next transaction, you're already, you're familiar with the forms, you're familiar with the system.
Perfect.
So,
Yes,
I
I
yeah,
appreciate
so
that.
I would be the person to go to. Again, I love that you are, doing this 2 weeks prior and not 2 days before calling me or compliance or Sandy. I love that you're being proficient and aware that this takes time and there's a
Mhm.
process. So reach out to me. I'm at resources@homesmartconnect.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Deb, could we read that? I saw Bobby put up a message
Yep,
and Laura did as well. Could we read those to everyone?
yep. So, Bobby said, doc review answers daily. If you email our personal email too, we will get double emails and that slows us down.
Got it. Okay.
Laura said, Laura Strong in Doc Review also said you can email her at laura@homesmartconnect.com.
Got it.
And then we have another question from Lucas that says, so this is the document that is safe to use, Chicago Association of Realtors non-exclusive buyer broker representation agreement.
What do you mean safe to use?
Lucas,
we-
can you unmute yourself and please help us clarify your question?
Lucas,
Yeah.
we have a buyer rep agreement that is HomeSmart
That
as
you should
well.
be using, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The one that I found on Car's website.
We would prefer that you use HomeSmart documents. We don't insist on the buyer rep agreement, but I think it's in your best interest because Doc Review is reviewing the buyer rep and it's the form they're most familiar with.
It's essentially the same thing, right?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
Um,
And so the one that you prefer that I use, it's in MLS, right?
It's
It's in,
it's in broker forms in MLS as well as on homesmartconnection.com, correct?
And it's also in
yes.
the RSA under download. So yes, we do prefer for all of our documents have been streamlined since I think last year. So let's
Yeah.
keep it all together. I know that we're so used to using our board documents, but because we have so many agents on board, we prefer to have everything streamlined so they can be, easier to read, easier to understand, and to be quite frankly with you, it would be easier, so much easier to us as agents just to go one direction and,
Yes.
and fill those documents out. So 3 places where you can find the documents broker form and the MLS under broker forms, all of our forms are in alphabetical order. So if the first page, you'll see AB, you'll find the buyer rep agreement right under the B section. And then in the RSA, you can find them under downloads. You go to downloads in the RSA towards the bottom. And then there's a search bar there. The minute that you start typing buyer, the buyer rep agreement will show up. And then lastly, you will find it under homesmartconnection.com, which is our agent dashboard. And all of our forms can be found in that fourth tile on the top row. Friends, I will stress that if anybody is not using our agent dashboard, you guys are losing out having everything on your hand at the palm of your hand. The agent dashboard was created as a toolbox for you. Everything you can imagine is in that agent dashboard. The top 4 tiles has all your main tools. You can connect to your MLS from there, you can connect to your RSA, and you can retrieve all of our forms in that folder.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right. Could I ask you to open up sale list comp again, Deb?
Okay. Let me see what I can do about that. Sale list comp. Go back to this one.
Yep.
Okay.
Want to point out a couple things to you here, and one of them is you see down here under earnest money. Whoops, whoa. Earnest money is held by Chicago Title. Let's say, for instance, that your seller is closing at XYZ Title Company. Are you all aware of the fact that you have to have that money sent from Chicago Title to XYZ Title Company? You cannot wait until the day of closing and somebody says, "Where's the earnest money?" And you say it's at Chicago Title. It shouldn't be at Chicago Title. You need to have had it transferred. Okay, there are instructions in the RSA, as well as, I believe, should be in the dashboard, as well as the RSA, how to move that money from Chicago Title to the other title company where the closing is going to be held. One of the things we see frequently, that is a problem. That should not be on our closing statement. You understand that because we no longer pay the buyer broker, the buyer broker's compensation should never be on your commission statement. So in other words, I see way too many commission statements coming in with the buyer broker line coming in here on the second line underneath what they're paying HomeSmart. This document here should only cover what we are getting. All right. Any questions about that? The buyer on your listing will be submitting their own commission statement to get their commission. You don't need to worry about it. All right. That is between the buyer and the seller directly. Let's go to the tenant rep agreement. And we're gonna be done very shortly. All right.
That is this one.
Yep. No, that's the compensation statement.
Whoops. Okay.
All right. We're looking
Um,
for a tenant representation agreement. I
I
don't
think
see
it's
it.
this one that doesn't have a label. Yep.
Is it?
Yeah. There we
Boy.
go.
There we go. Okay. Now take a look at this, and this works the same way the buyer rep agreement works. You have to be mindful of the dates. All right. If you're showing this tenant houses on 218, they need to have signed this on 218, not on 3/1. Okay. Otherwise, it's not a legitimate document. All right. Let's scroll down. Keep going. All right, let's look at page 2, top of the page. How much am I expecting to get paid? All too often, I see zeros in here. If you have a zero in here on your tenant rep agreement and you ask for a half a month's rent on the lease, guess what? You're not entitled to 1 penny. All right, your tenant rep agreement has to reflect exactly what you're going to ask the landlord to pay you. All right, any questions on that? All right, we can get rid of this document and go to the tenant compensation. And that's labeled tenant agent comp.
Okay.
All right, pretty straightforward.
Mhm.
All right, so I've got 50% of 1 month's rent on my tenant representation agreement. And keep in mind, guys, these dates are critical. So if that tenant rep is dated, let's say, for instance, 5/30, you cannot have written that lease on 4/28. That makes it a fraudulent document. All right. So your name goes at the top. You represent the tenant. All right. And the landlord is Mr. Smith. The tenant is Mrs. X. The monthly rent is $3,000. And the security deposit is always held by the landlord. So Mr. Smith is going to hold that earnest money deposit. All right. Mr. Smith is also going to pay us $1,500. All right. Now, that is a half a month's rent. All right. And that is what the tenant rep agreement stated. All right, does anybody have questions?
Nothing
Now,
in the chat.
let's talk about if this is your listing. All right.
I have a question. I was trying to get in. Yes, the question is, are we supposed also to get paid by the person that we're helping to get a lease from a lease owner?
What do you mean?
So
From the
if I'm
landlord?
working with somebody that wants me, yeah, right. So if I'm working with a person a tenant that wants me to find them a property to lease, do I
Yeah.
get paid by the tenant or by the compensation from the owner or
Well, it
whoever's
depends on what
leasing the
you are going to
property?
complete a tenant representation agreement with that tenant prior to showing them any properties. And you're going to have the discussion about how you're going to get paid, and that should be reflected on the tenant representation agreement. If that tenant is going to pay you, you're going to put on that tenant rep agreement the total amount you expect to get. If you expect to get $2,000, that's what you're going to put on the tenant rep agreement. Half of it could come from the landlord, half of it could come from the tenant. Okay? It all depends what
Okay,
you.
thank you. Got
All
it.
right. Now, let's, there's something here we need to get rid of. All right, can we make this a little bit larger?
Mhm.
All right. Let's say that you are the listing agent on this file. We do not treat listings for rentals the same way that we treat. Oh no, this is not the tenant rep agreement one. This is, we switched.
Oh, okay, excuse me.
We need the tenant one.
That one, lease. Oh, we don't want lease compensation either anymore.
This is fine. Oh,
Oh.
whoa.
Aha,
Yeah, that was fine.
okay, here we
All
go.
right. So let's say you're the landlord's agent, okay? Same, you fill out your name. And let's say that will it allow you to change it or no? I don't know if it will.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. Okay, cool. We can fill it in. All right.
Mhm.
So now we are paying the landlord's, the co-op broker. In the case of a lease, if it's your listing, we put the co-op compensation on our commission statement because we pay the co-op broker according to our listing agreement. So let's put in the Mr. Smith again is going to pay the co-op broker down here, down under paid by landlord.
Gotcha, yeah, he's
Are you going
there,
to type in Mr. Smith again?
right,
Now the next line, you're going to type Mr. Smith.
okay,
All right. And he's going to pay $1,500 to, let's say, XYZ Realty.
well, I need to put decimals on this one.
And it should automatically do it for you, but that's all right.
And he's paying it to who?
XYZ Realty. Okay.
Okay.
And this is how you complete this particular form if we are the listing office. All right. Now, in this particular case, this tenant also is being compensated. This tenant's agent is being compensated by the tenant to the tune of $500, as you see at the bottom of this compensation statement. All right. Does everyone see that? You can be paid from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I have for you today. Do you have any questions? Is it
You're
clear?
welcome to unmute yourselves and ask Sandy any question you have.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hi, so I'm selling my own home, and on the commission, obviously, I'm not paying myself any. Do I pay on the commission statement? Is there a fee for the HomeSmart? It's probably in the contract, but I don't
Yes.
remember.
HomeSmart
Good.
will still get $4.95, so that should be on your listing agreement. That you're going to be charging yourself $4.95.
Okay.
All
And
right?
on the commission statement as well.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Any other questions?
I had a quick question. So for just to make sure, the lease compensation statement, so then we have the landlord paying to both brokerages, but for the sale compensation, we only do where it's the seller's paying to HomeSmart, even if the buyer broker is getting commission from HomeSmart, but we don't put that on our statement.
Typically, no, because our buyer broker, if it's even if it's in our office, will submit their own commission statement. All
Okay,
right,
sounds good. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Andy, a little news. I
Yes,
I check all my listing on the Zillow.
yeah.
They are right there with all the information and all the pictures. So
Okay, good. Good to
I don't,
hear. Good to
I don't know
hear.
if it's a good news or bad news.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know when you came in, but we signed a contract with Zillow last Friday. I completed the paperwork so that we have a direct feed from the RSA to Zillow. So we are not being impacted the way the rest of the marketplace is by this cancellation of the feed to Zillow. All right,
Oh, okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Any other questions? All right, let's call it a day.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
your
for-
time. Great
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
Sandy.
explanation.
Take care, guys.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
When will the recording come up?
The recording will not be uploaded until 24 to 48 hours afterwards.
Okay, thank you. Have a good Memorial
You-
Holiday weekend. Bye now.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah, here.